What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And today, my guest, all the way up from our good friends in Canada, is Nico Lagan. Hey, Nico.
What's going on, man?
Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream. So, guys, I'm just gonna give you a brief bio of Nico, and then we're gonna get cooking. We got way too much good stuff to talk about. So, Nico Lagan is an independent reporter, podcaster, political commentator, men's rights advocate, and social media strategist, hosting the Political Orphans, the Conservative Corner, and Unwoken with Nico Lagan. With over 200,000 followers and millions of monthly views, Nico's bold takes have earned him features in Times Square billboards, TV, radio, and platforms like Sean Kelly's Digital Hour, Jubilee Media's Common Ground, and The Enemy's Project. A former sales manager to communications for over a decade, Nico left corporate life during the COVID-19 pandemic after refusing to get vaccinated, relocating to the woods for 2.5 years, and then traveled the U.S. and Mexico with his wife and rescue German Shepherd, covering 20,000 miles over 30 states in the RV, and now raising a newborn son. Nico's journey is one of redemption. After his father left at 14, he dropped out of high school, battled addiction, and dealt drugs. In his 20s, he got clean, returned to school, and built a successful career overcoming childhood bullying. Nico found confidence in the gym and became a North American amateur Muay Thai champion under TBASA. Today, Nico is dedicated to fostering civil discourse between political left and right, challenging cultural narratives, and championing personal responsibility as a leader for his son and his community. That is freaking awesome stuff. And we're going to get into this, but I'll promise I'll shut up, stop talking in 1 second. I just have to ask you the one question. Nico Lagan, what is your what if you could?
What if I could have a team? That's what I would like. Because I run 4 or 5 different podcasts and I do a bunch I literally record 8 or 9 lives a week right now. I'm always recording, plus the podcast that I do, like this one. So I wish I wasn't just a one-man team doing everything. Because I record with co-hosts, and 2 of the shows that I record with co-hosts, they show up. They show up and then they leave. They don't do any of the edits afterwards. They don't do any of the work. And that's one thing. The average consumer of social media, or just media as a whole, doesn't understand how much work comes with creating content. Like, they think that you show up in front of the camera and that's it. You press record, and once you're done, you're done. No. Like, I probably prepare 3 4 hours a day, if not more, for one of my shows. So I literally do research day in, day out, and that's the easy part. That's the fun part. But editing content, I have 2 laptops on my, like right now. I have 2 laptops running. I have the ones where I record my content on, like the one we're on right now. Then I have another laptop with another screen where I edit my content, like my monster, where I do all of my content. But how much time do I spend editing content? People think a 1 minute video takes a minute. It takes longer to create one reel of 30 seconds or 1 minute properly than it does recording the whole damn episode, the whole hour. So it probably takes twice the time to do one good reel than it does recording an hour of content like we're doing right now. So I wish I wasn't alone. I wish that I had a team that would do it for me. That's what I wish.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those things, the challenges. I've had a couple people and it's tough to trust. It's tough to find someone. I mean, I've had people reach out like crazy, and I know you have because you've got a way bigger footprint than I do, and say, "Oh
Yep.
man, let me take over your shit. Let me do this. Let me do that." And you talk to some people, and after a little bit, you go, "Bruh, seriously, dude, I was doing this way better myself. I love you, but I'm
Yep.
out of here, and trusting people to, because regardless of how many you do, you love each one of these, right? I mean, you put way too much work, way too much passion in these things. You care about what you're putting out there. And so just to hand it over to someone and trust them to do the right thing is wicked.
It's hard to find somebody that has the eye for what I do, because I do what I do. There's nobody else that does the type of content that I do, because I've developed my own style based on my strength and what I want to talk about, what my personality is. So nobody else does what I do. So it's very hard for me. I've had a team of 7 guys at one point working for me, and I spent more time trying to explain to them what I wanted. So I just got at one point is just fire everybody, and I just started doing it all myself, and the content is better. It's just I don't want to say I don't enjoy it. It's just it's not worth my time. Like, if my main goal, I create so much content. I literally post 5 to 8 times a day, and I post on 7 or 8 different social media platform every day. And I record 1 or 2 lives every single day too. Like today, I have 3. So it's 2:30 where I'm at. So it's 2:41 p.m. Eastern where I'm at. I'm going to record with you. As soon as I'm done here, I get ready. I do the thumbnail, the description for a live that I have at 6:30, and then I have another one at 8 at night. So I have 3 of them, and I think I might have time in between to go debate people, because I'm sponsored by an app that's absolutely great what they do, but it's called Gabble, and they just debate. There's a bunch of kids out of Columbia University that created an app where you can listen to debates, or you can just show up, and people, they have 10 topics every day, and they match people to debate for 3 minutes, and then so the people debate, it cuts, people vote for the winner, and AI, there's an AI judge so it's cool. It's actually, I started doing it yesterday, and really, really cool stuff. So yeah,
That's
that's all I do,
freaking
man.
awesome. Now you do a ton of shit. You've got the Political Orphans, which I've watched a lot, which is really great. You've got the Conservative Corner. You have Unwoken with Nico Lagan. Um, Now, but besides all the other stuff that you're doing, I mean, so before COVID, before they tried to poison you with the jab, did you have this type of passion for all this stuff?
I did I was not on social media at all. I was not. I literally was one of those that would look at it every now and then, but I did not care about social media whatsoever. It is really when, so back in 2020 when COVID happened, I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. Like, I question everything everybody tells me. If I could, I'd probably, I should have a tinfoil hat. Like you can see right now, right there, I have a skull with a tinfoil hat, because this is what I am at the end of the day. And as soon as COVID happened, I made 2 calls to a nurse and a doctor friend of mine. I'm like, what are we dealing with? And we're talking March 2020. I'm like, what are we dealing with here? He's like, we've been dealing with this for a few months. This is going to become the next common cold. I'm like, ah, cool. Both of my doctor friend and my nurse friend said the same thing. Next thing I did is I did research on the N92 mask, and I'm like, oh, cool. The filter is twice as big as the size of the COVID virus. So I'm like, face diapers don't work. So from that day, I'm like, nope. But then in Canada, like in the province where I'm at, I'm in the Quebec province, so the French portion of Canada, and it went on lockdown. Like, it started with the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, then it turned
Yeah.
to you're going to need a vaccine passport in order to be able to go eat at the restaurant and go to the gym. And so all I did, I'm a sales engineer by trade, so I sold high level telecommunication services to some of the biggest entities in North America, governments, private entities, and overnight it all went online. I couldn't go to the gym anymore because all the gyms were closed, and I moved to the woods. I literally got rid of my place in the city where all my clients were. I had an investment house that was on Airbnb that was just paying itself. I think it had been a year the last time I had been there. When I went back, I just canceled Airbnb and I stayed there for 2.5 years. And the first 1 year and a half, I was there with my dog alone in the woods. And over time, my company came up to me when they started reintegrating, maybe a year in, they started talking about how we're going to go back to the office and blah, blah, blah. They're talking about vaccines. And I'm like, yeah, fuck you. I'm not taking it. I had my OB. So right now I'm what, 6'1", 235 pounds, give or take. But back then I was still training like I was fighting. So I was 185 pound, like an 8-pack.
Wow.
Like I literally was extremely careful about everything I put in my mouth. I was still a vegan back then too. And
Yeah.
I told them they could put the vaccine where the sun don't shine. And I ended up leaving. But I sat down and I literally asked me a question. I'm like, what are the skills that I have? What are the transferable skills? So what are the skills that I've developed over 12 years of high-end sales plus the previous 8 years of technical support? Because that's what I studied in, right? I studied as a computer technician and I evolved into networking, but I've installed and configured equipment that's two, three, four, $500,000 a box, right? That's what I used to do. So imagine building the network of a Comcast, for example. That's what I built. So
Wow.
then I went to selling the service. I went from supporting it and installing it to selling it as a technical guy. So I have a lot, for me, technology just makes sense. Like I grew up building computers when I was still a child. And so I looked, I'm like, it's not very different to be in front of a camera than to be in a room trying to understand people, see how to create rapport with them, try to make them understand that you do care, that you're trying to do the best that's for them. There's no difference. It's just you're still selling yourself at the end of the day. That's what content creation is all about. You need to be able to explain yourself in a way that actually resonates with people. And I take a lot of complicated concepts that I find in the news. I do a lot of research. I'm really very much an investigator. So I take a lot of information and I explain it to people in layman's terms so that they understand it. They don't have to do the hours and hours and hours of research that I do every day. But my job is to build confidence with them so that they trust what I say, or that they dislike me so much that they're going to doubt everything that I say and they're going to do research in order to prove me wrong. So no matter how you look at it, I'm the end goal is the same. I want people to research. So that's all I did. That's really, I sat down, I looked at what my skills were, and that's coming from a guy that never created any type of content before that. Like I went from creating zero content to creating content full time, basically.
What about the politics angle of it? Were you always that passionate about the politics, or did you see that one side had lost their frickin' mind and said, I think the other side's making a little more sense. I think I'll take a look at that side. Or did you always have a leaning or a bent one way or the other?
No, listen, I paid attention for politics for a very long time, but I wasn't necessarily commenting on it. I knew that I had to keep my comments to myself because I tend to have very brash comments. And in the tech world, they're all a bunch of pussies. They're all lefties. They're all woke lefties. And just the fact that I'm a big muscular guy covered in tattoos already was a hard sell. So I did not drink with them. I did not go out with them. I did not hang out with those people. I had no interest. I would have ended up smacking somebody, just like trying to literally discipline them the way their parents or fathers should have disciplined them in the first place. So but politics was always, politics derives from culture, or culture derives from politics. It depends how you see it. They both are interconnected, and Donald Trump in the US being the perfect example, right? Like when he was reelected in November last year, when he actually won the election, right away you saw culture starting to change. And he hadn't done anything. He wasn't becoming president until January, but already back in November, you were seeing people dancing like Trump in the NFL. You had UFC fighters winning their titles dancing like Trump, but that was unacceptable to do 6 months prior. So
Yeah.
I've always been interested because I understand. I'm a big fan of psychology, and I understood the connection between politics and culture. But I never thought in a million years that I would be creating the news now. Yet, this is a story I haven't told very much, but it's one that's close to my heart. Years ago, I would say like 7 years ago, at my last job that I had working for the men, there's a dude, an older guy, an older black guy. Didn't know the guy back then. He looked at me. He's like, "Have you ever been told that you should be in front of a camera?" And this is years prior to me ever recording my first peak of content. And I'm just like, "The fuck you're talking about, man? What the hell are you talking about?" And it turns out he was 100% right, because I've been on some of the biggest platform in North America. So basically, he was right. Like I had to be in front of a camera, but back then I didn't know. So does that answer your question,
No, I don't know.
somewhat?
It doesn't matter because it just it just opened up another fucking question. I could care less because everything that you say ignites another question or another
Yeah.
another topic or another
Oh,
passion. Because
let me answer it though, because there's one thing I want to correct you on. I don't think that there's a side that's better than both than the
Mhm.
other. I think they both work. They're both the same bird. They're just two wings of the same bird. I don't see
Yep.
any difference between the Republican or the conservatives, as they call them in Canada, and the Democrats and the liberals. At the end of the day, they all work for the same people, and it ain't us. So
Yeah.
that's
No.
why the show, The Political Orphans, because I record with an anti woke liberal. The guy is a liberal. He's very liberal compared to me. And I'm a Christian first and foremost. So I'm a Christian conservative. And yes, I swear, as a Christian, I'm not your regular Christian. Words don't hurt my feelings the way other Christians are affected by them. But I found out a long time ago that we probably agree on 80% of stuff between the left and the right. Like, remove the woke left, because these are type of people that I cannot have a conversation with. The same thing as the ultra MAGA on the right side. I can't have a conversation with them because Trump has done some good stuff, but he's done a lot of dumb shit that he needs to be called on. And you need to be able to criticize your leaders. I will never walk a political line. I refuse to. I'm not a sellout. So I will call out both sides, but I especially call out the conservatives or the Republican more, because those are supposed to be my people. So I will call them more than the people on the other side, because it's pretty fucking clear that I'm not a Democrat. It's pretty clear that I'm not a liberal if you have a simple conversation with me. But the point I'm trying to make is that they both work for the same people. We need politics, but unfortunately, our politics have been hijacked and corrupted to a point where it doesn't even matter who they say. They just wear a different color, but they don't care. At the end of the day, it's not about making your life easier. And if there's one thing I could hopefully inspire people to understand, is that our leaders are not there to save us. Politicians are not the leaders we need to look up to. They are not there to save us. They're there to save themselves. Just look at this.
Yeah.
They're basically, if you look at the psychology behind politicians, they're narcissists. They
Yeah.
are extremely self-centered. They care about themselves. They don't care about you. They don't see you as their equal. So why would they save you?
Yeah. Do you guys have term limits in Canada?
No, not the way in the US. You guys have two terms of 4 years. In Canada, you can basically, if you're reelected, you can be reelected for 20 years in a row if that's possible. And not only that, but one of the things that's insane in Canada is that the party that's in power, so let's say the Republicans right now, Trump could call an election at any given day. It's
Yeah,
not a
that's
four.
bizarre.
So not only is there
Uh,
no terms per se, like two terms and you're out, but let's say he just came out with a really good thing that the public's like, woo, but he knows that 6 months down the road there's something coming that's going to be bad. He could launch an election right now, get reelected, reset the 4 years, and he can
that's
do that as
freaking
many times as
bizarre.
he wants. Yeah.
That is unbelievably bizarre. I mean, what we need here in the States is we need the president has term limits. Some governors have term limits, but we desperately need term limits for the Congress, the House, and the Senate because
Yep.
I mean, like you said, basically these guys get here, and even if you get here with good intentions, right? Let's say you're from Des Moines and you're just off the farm, and it used to be like the old days. You come from the farm, you go to Washington, you stay there for 8 years, and you go back to the fucking farm, right? But even if you have the good intentions and you get there, these guys poison you immediately because they get in your ear, they take you to dinners, they get you hookers, they get you big pharma throwing money at your campaign, they get big ag. Um, and then you're corrupted. It's like it's bizarre how poisonous the system is.
That's a reality, and I don't care where you're at in North America. Like, I don't care that it's Canada or the US, it's the same. That's why I say that both politicians, I don't care the party that they represent, they're all full of shit. They're all there to help themselves. It's, I've come to call what you see in the Senate or what you see in the House of Commons or in the Congress for you guys in the US, I call it the WWE for adults. Instead of guys being on instead of guys being shirtless and on steroids, you have a lot of dudes on estrogen wearing suits. But there's not much of a difference. It's bread and circuses for the masses. What the Romans invented 2,000 years ago, it's the same recipe. They're doing the exact same thing. How many times have you seen a video of Obama and Trump sitting next to each other being buddy buddy, just like, hey bro, and we see the same in Canada. You have two guys that ran in complete opposite parties and they're sitting each other, hey bro, how you doing? Because they don't work for us, they work for themselves and the unelected bureaucrats that
Yeah,
sit at the UN, the WEF, that sit on the board of international globalists.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the reality in which we live,
Well,
and I
you
don't
know,
care where you're from.
you see that in DC all the time. These guys supposedly go at it in the house,
Oh
beating
yeah.
each other up and fighting, and then you see them in a restaurant having dinner together, drinking martinis, and
Yep.
it's like Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock, who basically fucking owns everything in the world, is now the co-head of the World Economic Forum. It's like, wait a minute, how much power can you give one dude, right? I mean, it's like, how much power can you give this guy? Because George Soros, a bunch of these other douchebags just control so much of what happens. And it really doesn't matter. Like you said, it just doesn't matter which side. You see it all the time, and we call them rhinos here, Republican in name
Yep.
only, right? Where the dude's supposed to
Yep.
fucking step up and do the right thing for his constituents. But he prefers to do the right thing for Pfizer or for ConAgra or for whoever is paying his bills, and it's bullshit.
George Carlin said that if voting really mattered, we wouldn't be allowed to do it.
I miss him.
Paraphrasing, obviously. I'm
Yeah,
paraphrasing, but this
I
is how
miss
I
him.
see it.
Yeah.
And this kind of messes with people's mind when I say this because I talk about politics day in, day out. But I don't talk about politics because politics matters. I talk about politics because it influences culture, because it's a derivative to culture. So if you have, because technically there's nothing wrong with politics. In a world where politicians are there to serve the people, politics is needed. We need some type of government, a very small government that will
Yeah.
take care of very small things, as in defense, as in take care, protect your country. But the rest should be handled by the state or the province if you're in Canada, or handled by your community, the city itself, because this is where your life is really impacted, is where you live as a person, the city that you live in. This is where what matters to you really happen. We tend to focus on the federal level because it gets a lot more attention. But what really matters at the end of the day is your community, where you live. This is where, as an individual, you're going to have the most impact. For most men out there, I'd argue that the place you're going to have the most impact is your family. If you're not leading your family as a Christian, if you're not taking care of your family, you're not being the leader of your family, don't even think about politics, bro. Fix your fucking house first and then move outside. But we tend to forget that our society is just a bunch of individuals that agreed to live with each other under the same rules. That's basically all our society is. So if you want to change your society, understand that societies is just a bunch of communities that are connected to each other, that agreed to live under the same rules. So how do you change a society? Change your community. It's unfortunate because there's nothing beautiful about what I just said. There's nothing fantastic about it. It takes time. You need to build generations of individuals that are going to be critical thinkers. But that is what we're forgetting. Because I talk about politics because it impacts everybody. Like, there's three subjects. There's a good reason why people tell you that there's three subjects we shouldn't talk about: politics, money, and religion. Yet everybody I've ever met in my life has an opinion on it. No matter what, nobody considers any of those subjects to be a gray area. Everybody has an opinion on politics, money, and religion, and yet we're not supposed to talk about it. Are you fucking kidding me? Those are all you should be talking about. If we're not talking about this, I'm not interested. I'd rather be alone working on my stuff because this is not a conducive conversation. I don't need to have dumb people around me just talking about stuff because I'm bored with my life. I got plenty of shit to do. But the point I'm trying to make is at the end of the day, guys need to realize that politics is needed, but at the same time, understand that it's all a joke. I'm a big fan of Alan Watts. I don't know if you know Alan Watts, but I was a Buddhist for a very, very long time. And Alan Watts is just a philosopher from like the 50s. And one of the things that he said in some of his presentations is you want to play the role of the Joker. You want to understand that there is life after death, that one day you'll meet your maker. But until then, it's all a fucking joke. So, as serious as it might be, you need to learn to laugh at this shit because at the end of the day, when you die, it's not going to fucking matter. So, play the Joker. Understand that there's something after this, but learn to laugh about the state of affairs because it is what it is, man. We don't have that much power to change it.
No one gets out of here alive. I've got a picture in my office that says, "Life is far too important a thing to ever talk seriously about." Orson Welles, and
Yep.
it's a true thing. But I want to go back to, like you said, about the distraction and the Roman circus and shit like that. I mean, how much do you think politics has really changed in the last 2,000 years?
The thing is that I would argue that politics, the way that it is right now, the way that our systems are designed, is working perfectly. It was never designed to serve the people. That's the problem. Because if it was about serving the people that would serve the people would understand that public service is supposed to be for others. You look at a Nancy Pelosi, the greatest investor of all time, somebody that Warren Buffett should take lessons from. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. She's just
Of course.
inside trading. She's a massive, massive inside trader. But you have people like her in Congress. You have people like her that are supposed to represent the people. When she started, she's just a lawyer by trade. She wasn't even a millionaire when she started. And now she's like $250 million or something ridiculous like that. And yet people continue voting for somebody like that, continue encouraging somebody like that. The point is that civil public service should cost you something. The people that do not want to be in politics are the ones you want in politics. The ones that are like, a lot of my followers are like, you need to go into politics, you need to go into politics. I don't want to. I have no interest to be in politics. Would I do it? Yes. Do I want to? Absolutely fucking not. I have no interest because I know that I'm gonna have to do stuff that I do not want to do. And it's not about me, it's about serving others, it's about being a leader. One of the things, so we had an election about 8 months ago. I didn't vote. I did not vote whatsoever because none of the parties deserve my vote. I will not cast a vote just to cast a vote. I don't vote for the lesser of two evils because you're still participating in the same, you're still encouraging the system to continue working the way that it works right now. I want to see an election show up where 60-70% of people did not vote. And then the day after the election, people are walking in the street with their signs saying, time to collapse this country, time to collapse this election system because it ain't working. Or it is working the way it was supposed to work, but we don't like it. That's what I want to see. So I didn't vote, which blows the mind of a lot of people since I talk about politics all the time. But people don't deserve your vote. You shouldn't vote for the lesser of two evils. And I always ask myself, like, one of my friends years ago told me that all of his friends, all the people that he has around him, he always asks himself the same question. He's like, would they be on my zombie team? So if zombie apocalypse happens tomorrow, do the people that I have around me, what would they serve? What purpose would they serve? Would I follow them into battle, or would I lead into battle? So ever since he told me that years ago, I'm always thinking about that. So the people that are around me, what are the purpose that they serve, and what is the purpose that I serve for them? But the same is the same reality for leaders. Would I, if I'm going to vote for somebody, if I'm going to endorse someone, I always ask myself, would I follow that guy into battle? Would he be leading me in a fight? Like, I'm not talking a philosophical fight. I'm talking we're grabbing
Yeah.
guns today and we need to defend ourselves. Is that the guy that gonna lead me into battle? No, fuck him. I'm not voting for him.
Yeah. Can you have guns in Canada?
Less and less. I'm a gun owner in Canada, but less and less. Yeah, it's becoming very restricted. I think the number over the past 4 years, don't quote me on this because I don't remember the exact numbers, but over the past 3 to 4 years, there's at least 2,000 models of firearm, between 2 and 3,000 models of firearms that were banned, that people owned legally. Like, literally, people were made to be paper criminals overnight. And now we're in a situation where the guns couldn't be taken out of the safe. So you look at an AR-15, for example, can't even shoot an AR-15 anymore. You can't buy them, you can't sell them, you can't do anything. It's a paperweight. And this is the most popular gun in the US, arguably, right? Or at least the most iconic gun in the US is it's an AR-15 platform. In Canada now, they started a test phase in one of the large cities in Canada, that they're doing a gun buyback. So all of the guns that they've restricted, or that they made illegal over the past couple of years, over the past 4 years, they're forcing people to give them up. So basically, you either take a very small amount of money, probably a third of the money you paid for the gun, to get for them to give you for you to get rid of the gun. You either don't do anything, but eventually you will become a criminal overnight for even having that gun. They will send the police to your place in order to collect those guns, and you're going to get arrested and all that stuff. So they've been doing a test for the past 6 to 8 weeks. You know how many, and guns in Canada are registered, right? So people know certain type of firearms need to be, when you buy them, like an AR-15, for example, needs to be registered. Like, we have licenses in Canada. We have two types of licenses for firearms. So the government knows those type of firearms, who owns them. 11% after 8 weeks of the people brought their guns back. The rest, that literally 10% said, here are my guns. 90% said, fuck you, you can suck one. And that is a liberal, that is a Democrat city.
Yeah.
The rest of Canada is not going to be any different. People are going to say, fuck you, you're not getting my gun. And I can tell you, fuck you, you're not getting my gun. So it's,
we're
but
pretty
that's
much
Canada.
like
That's
that
Canada
here.
for you.
Yeah. Well, look what it did to Australia when they did the buyback
Oh, yeah.
of guns, and then they just destroyed them all. Obama did that in Europe. Obama went ahead and had Europe destroy all the guns in Europe. He did a great job there. Was Carney were they able to hypnotize, fool, trick,
Yep.
fire up the Canadian populace about Trump was so evil, he was such a devil,
Yep.
that they had to nominate Carney of all fucking people?
That is 100% how he won how he was selected in the last election. Yes, 100%. He basically ran a campaign of fear. I will be the one to stand up to Trump. Yet, what the ironic part is most people don't know this, but since at least 2021, Mark Carney was the economic advisor to Justin Trudeau. So they brought in the guy that was behind the scene. So instead of having the dumb puppet with nice socks in front of the camera, they took the midget evil Marxist that was behind him, and now they put him in front of the camera. Yet they sold that as change. Yet most of the ministers that are working in his government are the same people. They just got reshuffled. So you got a guy that wrote a book called Values, that is Mark Carney. I call him Mark Carney because he's a Marxist. And you read his books, you read his book Values, he referred to Karl Marx at least 40 or 50 times in his book. And basically, he's all about the green agenda. He's all about detaching us from the US. Yet the problem that has crippled Canada's economy is not Trump. It's 10 years of liberal policies. Of basically, arguably, Canada is has the most untapped natural resources in the world. We're sitting on the third biggest oil and gas reserve in the world. We have some of the most valuable minerals in the world. Arguably, we have the most fauna that we can exploit. Yet we had 10 years of liberal policies that did everything to keep our natural resources in the ground instead of developing them. Like, you look at the GDP per capita since Trudeau took power. So in 2015, we were head to head with the US. Like, you guys have a bit of a higher one, but not much. But we were head to head. You see the graphs we were following. And then there's a picture of Justin Trudeau. Our GDP per capita has grown 1% over the past 10 years. Yours has grown 20. Like, it's somewhere between 19 and 21, depending. So I'll call it 20. But you guys literally grew 20 times more than we have. And during the last campaign, Mark Carney literally ran a campaign on elbows up. I don't know what elbows up means, because all I can see for the listeners out there that are men, you know what a bukkake is, right? That's what elbows up is to me. It's like you're getting a lot of cum shots in the face, like you're pumping dudes. That's what elbows up is. And he ran a campaign on he will be the one standing up to Trump. Like, Trump has created the problem that we're seeing in Canada. It's 10 years of liberal policies that have made us extremely dependent on the US, because the US buys about 75% of our exports. So 75% of our exports go to the US. Just look at this. Is how stupid we are. We have the third largest reserve of oil and gas in the world, yet we don't have the refineries in Canada. What we do is that we send them to the US to be refined, and then you guys sell it back to us more expensive. Instead of simply building our refineries, we refuse to build pipelines to the Pacific and to the Atlantic. We refuse to do it. We literally have the potential to be on par with Abu Dhabi, like printing money, like Saudi Arabia, not the politics, not the religion, but just the wealth. We have that power right here, and we choose not to. And people look around to the big bad orange men to the south and say it's all his fault. Yet he's only been in power for less than a year, and they're blaming him for 10 years of policies. Now, that being said, the reason it worked very well is that Trump's kind of an ass. Trump kind of doesn't give a fuck about people's feelings, which is why people voted for him in the first place. And he doesn't really care. He doesn't. They don't care about Canada. Like, Trump's interest is not Canada. Trump's interest is the US. So if you can fuck Canada and get a better deal, guess what? He's going to do it. But people are so hypocritical. If we could fuck Americans to get a better deal, guess what? I wouldn't even lube you up, motherfucker. So that we don't have any leverage in Canada. And instead of admitting that 10 years of liberal policies have created an environment in Canada where Trump can take advantage of it, because that's what he's doing. He's a business guy. At the end of the day, if you see an advantage where you can make money, what do? You take the advantage and you make money. Do I agree with the tariffs? Do I agree that he should fuck us like that? No, I don't. But do I blame him for it? No, I blame the liberal government for allowing him to do that. Because if we had all the refineries that we need, if we had all the pipelines to both coasts, we wouldn't need you to buy our oil and gas. You could have said, you know what? Screw you. We don't want your stuff anymore. We would have said, no problem. We'll just put it on the world market. So Trump is taking advantage of us 100 million times. Yes. Can you blame? I don't blame him. I'd do the same thing if I was in his shoes. I do what's best for my country. So why would I care about other people's countries? That's not my problem.
The bizarre thing is it's happening in our own country. I mean, we've got this complete douchebag, Gavin Newsom. I mean, he's
Oh,
like a caricature. He's
governor
not
of
even like
California. Yep.
yeah, he's like a caricature. I mean, I don't even know if it's like he's like he might be AI. I don't even know, but he has fucked California. I've lived in California my whole life. This guy has destroyed our state.
Mhm.
And now he's the front runner to be the 2028 Democratic nominee because he's fighting back against Trump. And I'm like, dude, Trump won't be running in 2028, so I don't give a shit who you're
Nope.
fighting back against. But in the meantime, your wake of destruction is so massive. You suck so bad in governance that, but people will vote for him because he's standing up to Trump. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's not going to work though. It's not going to work. JD Vance is going to be your next president. No questions about it. Unless he does something really ridiculous to completely destroy his career. He is your typical American, like doesn't come from money, went into the military, and he's capable of finding common ground with people, which is a skill Trump does not have. Trump does not possess that skill, but that is not, Trump is playing the role that you guys needed. You needed a guy to show up, to fuck shit up, to raise his middle finger to people, to say, you know what, you're not happy? Well, fuck you. I run the biggest economy in the world. You want to sell us shit? Okay, it's gonna be on our terms. I don't see a
It's
problem with what
called
he's doing. Is
Trump. Trump has swinging dick philosophy. He's got the big dick philosophy. I got the biggest dick in the room, and I'm swinging it right. And he just doesn't give a shit. JD Vance would be very interesting. I'd love to see JD Vance on the top of the ticket and Marco Rubio on the as the VP because Marco's
sure.
really shown. He shines. I mean, Marco has come out and he's a little ass kicker, that little dude. And I love the combo with them, but it doesn't matter. 50% of our country is going to vote one way regardless. They love to scream, vote blue no matter who, vote blue. And it's like, this is your country, guys. You can't just say, I'm going to vote for them just because the color on the D, right? I mean, you've got to step back and go, what's best for my family? Like you said, what's best for my community? What's best for my family? What's best for my kids and my grandkids? We've got to get out of that crazy mindset.
What's best for your country, what's best for your families to be involved on the community level, like I said before. Run for mayor, run for your school board, be on the board to know if your kids are in the school board, if your kids are in the public school board, make sure you know at least who the people that are taking decisions are. Make sure they're not selling them that woke bullshit that they're going to try to convince your son that he's a girl and your girl that he's a dude. No, like you need to get involved. If you're going to get involved on the local level. If you used to play a sport, coach that sport, be an impact to the young men in that sport. Like take control of what's around you. Because that's the beautiful thing about the States, and I wish Canada was more like that. When I like the idea of having a federal government that is responsible for what's outwards. Like similar to your FBI and your CIA. Like I see the use of a federal government more like the CIA, right? You get involved in world politics, you go to places that are outside your country, you control the military, for example, you protect your country. But then you have the FBI that's mostly inside your borders. But imagine having an FBI per state. You're responsible for your state. You do are part of a united states. Like that's pretty simple. I think people forget. They say United States. Yeah, do you understand what it means? It doesn't say one fucking state. It's a bunch of fucking state that decides to be under the same country, but to have the different rules. Like I'm a pro-life guy. I don't believe in abortion whatsoever. You can argue for rape, you can argue for incest and that type of stuff, but that's less than 1%. 95 to 99% of abortions are done by healthy women that could easily give birth, but they choose not to for whatever the reason is. I want the state to have the power to be anti abortion. like you look at Alabama. I spent a lot of time in Alabama. Normally, it's my first winter I'm going to be spending in Canada. For the past 3 years, we were Texas, Arizona, Texas, and Alabama. So I like Alabama because they're anti-abortion. They don't want IVFs, and that's fine. You don't like that? Don't fucking stay there. Go to one of those woke states where they want that stuff. No problem. Go to California. You want that stuff? No problem. Go to California. And that's what I like about the States. That's what I really like. And that, to me, it makes sense to have a bunch of different countries, similar countries within a country. And that's what's important about the US. That's what I like about the US, is the fact that you guys are capable of having laws that are based on your state.
Yeah, this is so interesting about the US too, because when you look at a map, it's an entirely red country, right? But what happens is you've got Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. You've got these cities that will totally fuck over the entire state, right? I mean, you look at like Pennsylvania, the entire state's red except for Philadelphia is blue, and yet it turns the whole state blue in the voting because there's so many people inside that city. So that's a little bit of a bitch. But my son did run for city council last year.
Good for him.
People came to him and said, "Dude, run for city council. You'd be great, right?" So he did. He lost to the incumbent mayor because she's a Democrat. She's worthless. She's done nothing. She wants homelessness and drugs handed out and needles handed out and all this woke bullshit, right? But she won because it's the little jerry-rigged area where of her district is Democratic. So she just sent out shit with like, I'm with Obama and I'm with Biden. I'm a Democrat and vote for me because I'm a Democrat, without anything about her record, because her record sucked. So it's a tough battle for my kid. But yeah, we're involved locally. It has to start. And politics is local. Everything's local, right? It has to start.
Knocking
School
on doors.
district has to stop. Yeah, he knocked on a shitload of doors, but yeah, it is. So we're coming up on time here. So what's next for you, Nico? What are you going to do next? You got your hands full with a ton of shit. You're not going to get into politics. So what are you going to do next, man?
I didn't say I wouldn't. I said I don't want to. There's a difference.
Trump said that, and remember, Trump used to say that in the 1980s. I don't want to get in a run for president, but if I had to, I would. And he had to, and he did. So maybe they recruit you in and pull your ass into to be prime minister.
The beautiful thing about what I do is I understand social media. I understand how to get my content in front of millions and millions and millions of people. And in my humble opinion, the next politicians could well come from social media. They could build a following using social media and using targeted content to people from their countries, their cities. Like your son, I was going to say, if I was somebody that would have helped your son with his campaign, I could have showed him how to create content and how to put it out there in a way that it would have hit the people in his district, in his town, in his city. Yes, you need to knock on doors, but there's better ways, there's smarter ways to do that, to hit people right here, right on the phone, right? So there's ways to do that in a way that it's a lot more efficient, considering social media. Plus there's so many different platforms where you can hit different people on there. Your demographic as a voter is everybody, right? You want to have as many people as possible. So the age, as long as they're old enough to vote until the day they die, you want to be able to reach them. Well, guess what? Facebook's demographic is not the same as Instagram. It's not the same as TikTok. It's not the same as YouTube. It's not the same as X. So you cater your content to different platforms, knowing that you're speaking to different people. So you can create content that is based on their issues and talk to them directly in a format that resonate with them, because you're using the platform that they're using. So to me, this is how the next politicians that want to be independent, that don't want to be part of a group, because I don't want to be part of a political party. I really don't want to. I would want to be elected as an independent, somebody that's going to be, Jesus Christ in the Bible flipped tables in the temple when he had enough. I don't want to flip tables. I want to break those tables with my 2 fingers up. And if you have to arrest me and escort me out, that's fine. I'm okay with that, because in Canada, we're not at a point to be polite anymore. We're in a place where our economy is crumbling, and we're sitting on the most untapped resources in the world, and we choose not to use it. So you have to know that there's an agenda behind it, and there's things that are coming that are they're going to be very hard to remove. You know the expression that you can vote communism in, but you'll have to fight to get it out. Just,
Yep.
you just look at Venezuela, another place that has a lot of natural resources. They have the second largest oil and gas reserve in the world, yet for almost 20 years they were poor as fuck until Milei. But Milei is coming to fuck shit up. He's not the guy you want to have long term, but he's a transition. Like, he's the guy that's going to handle the transition from being woke, from being a communist to being that. And that is the role I want to play. I'm not there. I don't care for I don't want to be in politics, but if I could be the fuck shit up type of person to show up, show people that you're fucking retarded and that shit needs to stop now, lead by example, and then just walk away. Do one term, do what needs to get done, then find people that are way better at it and that cares that that's what they want to do. So hopefully that's
Let me
what's
ask
next.
you.
If not, I'm going to continue creating content because I reach a lot of people with my shit, and I'm just going to continue reaching more and more.
I got to ask you about something real quick that I wanted to before and I forgot. What is going on with euthanasia in Canada? Why are they killing everybody in Canada?
You mean MAID? That's what you call euthanasia. It's called MAID. It's called medical assistance in dying, is what you're probably referring to. But it's called MAID. Right now, right now at least, it's arguable that I could see the potential for it, the way that it should have been handled. Like, I take like, it's personal for me because I got my father-in-law, my stepfather was battled cancer for 5 to 7 years. Like, he did chemo and radiation literally every 3 weeks for years. So he was always sick. And the reason he did is that he didn't want my mother to lose his military pension. He didn't want her to lose his insurance, and he could commit suicide, right? But I literally offered him at one point when he was really sick, you want me to figure out a way to end it for you? I'll make sure I don't get caught. Like, he's like, no. So, but that was before MAID. And this is how MAID, the medical assistant in dying, was sold, is for the people that are terminal, that there's no other option, that don't want to suffer anymore. Should they have the right to kill themselves? You know what? Sure, why not? I'm a live and let live type of guy. I might not agree with it, but I understand why somebody would want to be able to end their own lives because they're tired of suffering. I get it. So originally that was the intent, but now they're moving in a way where they will soon be allowing people to use MAID that have mental illnesses. So we're starting to cross a bridge where now it's becoming, you're giving a tool to people to really commit suicide. They're tired of they don't want to live anymore. There's nothing, literally there's nothing terminally wrong with them. They're not dying. They just don't want to live. So instead of treating the emotional aspect, treating the mental illness, they're going to give them the opportunity to kill themselves. And what's messed up about this is that those are the type of service that are provided by the state, right? In Canada, we're extremely taxed, and it takes 3 months to get approved for MAID in Canada. It takes about 6 months in Canada if you want to go see a psychologist provided by the state. So it takes more time to go see a psychologist than it does for you to commit suicide. So they want, over the next year or two, they want to open it up to mentally ill individuals, like adults, people above 18 years. But then it's in discussions right now. They created a new term that is such an oxymoron. It's so dystopian. They call it mature minors. They like you can't be a mature minor. A minor is the complete opposite of being mature. That's why they're minors. And it's arguable that every single teenager out there has a mental issue of some type. They're all fucked in the
Yeah.
head. I remember how I
Oh
was. I
yeah.
was fucked in the head too.
Oh
So,
yeah. 100%.
but the next step is to open the door to to underage kids with mental issues. That's the next step. They
Wow.
want kids to be able to commit suicide instead of dealing with their mental issues. And then we're extremely indoctrinated in Canada. There are no school systems in Canada anymore. It's indoctrination centers. We're all
Yeah.
heavily involved in that LGBTQ crap, the alphabet letter bullshit, where men can be women, women can be men. It's absolutely insane. We are Canada is a socialist country. We are a Marxist country, and if you dare speak against it the way that I do, you're racist, you're xenophobe, you're think about
Everything.
I'm
Yeah.
white, so I'm
You're a
obviously I'm a
Nazi.
white
Right.
supremacist. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
You're a Nazi.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. And the beauty, I love the mature minor because that sure helps out the pedophiles, man. You could say, oh, yeah, I know he's only 12, but hey, he's a mature 12, so I can bang him because he's mature and he asked for it. It's just that is a really
Very
bad.
slippery slope. There's a
Very
slippery slope.
bad. Very bad precedent, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're so fucking busy. So real quick, before we get out of here, I have one last question. I promise this is my last question is what what do you wanna if you have something you want to leave my audience with, there's some one last thought that means something to you, that Nico goes, yeah, man, this is really inside me. I want to leave this with you guys. What's that last thought you'd like to share?
That faith, that courage comes from faith. I know a lot of people out there I know especially in Canada, people are really puzzled as to what the next step is because we don't see a lot of good good coming up. Like a lot of things, it just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And as someone that talks about this every day, I can tell you that if it wasn't for my faith, I don't think I could handle what is and what's coming. But because I understand and I know from the bottom of my heart that it's meant to happen, I can only roll with the punches. Then my faith is not in men. My faith is in God. So if there's one thing I could impart on people, and that's what I found when I spent a lot of time in the woods. When I was at the bottom of a pit by myself in the middle of the woods, losing my jobs, losing everything I worked for, I found God there because there was no bullshit. There was nothing more. There was nothing else than the thing that was with me my whole time that I never paid attention to.
Yeah, the noise was gone. So you could hear the calling because the noise was gone. And in America, the left hates this, but the truth of the matter is, in America, even before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, America has definitely been seeking. There's a lot of seeking in America. People are really searching, and you're seeing a real revival of people. It may not be going to church or, becoming Christian or whatever, but you definitely see
Yet,
a
not yet.
searching in America. You know what I mean? And I think people are really struggling to find that. So, my brother, you've been amazing. Where can we find Nico Lagan? Where can we go see more of your shit? Where can we go and hook up with all your good stuff?
Every single social media outlet out there, I'm there at real Nico Lagan. Same name everywhere.
That's awesome. All right, brother, you're amazing. I appreciate this. I know you're a busy, dude, but this has been very, very good. I'm sorry about what's going on in Canada. I'm sorry about what's going on in America. I'm sorry about what's going on in the world, but we need more guys like you speaking up, breaking some eggs, pulling a china shop, and waking people up. Because if we don't wake up soon, we're all fucked. So it won't matter, right? So,
We're fucked. No, I'll leave that. I'll leave people with that. One of my Christian buddies out of Alabama, told me last year when I was kind of struggling with what I'm doing, like emotionally, he looked at me. He said, man, your job is not to prevent the Titanic from sinking because it's sinking. Your job's to take as many people as you can and put them on lifeboats.
that is awesome.
Just
That's epic.
I cried when he told me that. I'm like, bro, Thank you.
Wow.
I needed to hear this. So
That is epic. And that's what you're doing, man. You're swimming in that freezing ass water. You're pulling Jack and Rose off the door, throwing their ass on
I'm
the life
Leonardo.
raft.
I'm dying on my board.
I'm here to save your dumb ass. All right, my brother. You've been amazing. Everybody, we just were gifted with some time with Nico Lagan. You can find him anywhere. Just Google it. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
See you
Thanks
guys.
for having me on, man.
You got it, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.